In this video, I'll cover total daily carbs to build muscle, how to set up calories to build muscle, timing your carbs around training, the best carbs to build muscle, and how much muscle you should expect to build. How many carbs you eat daily directly influences glycogen levels. Glycogen is just the stored carbohydrate that you eat. Every gram of glycogen draws 2.7 to 4 grams of water into the muscle cell. On average, adults store 350 to 700 grams of glycogen in skeletal muscle and 100 grams in the liver. Of course, this depends on how much muscle you have, what your diet looks like, and how intensely you're strength training. This is why when your carbs are too low, you complain of looking and feeling flat. A flat appearance is characterized by a lack of pop or pump in the muscle when training, and vascularity is non-existent. A recent position stand by the ISSN Exercise and Sports Nutrition Review recommends a daily carbohydrate intake of 5 to 8 grams per kilogram of body weight when building muscle, or 2.2 to 3.6 grams per pound of body weight. If you weigh 170 pounds, that would be 374 to 612 grams of carbohydrate per day when trying to build muscle. If this sounds like too much, this may be why you're not building muscle. Before I discuss timing your carbs around training, I have to cover how to set up daily calories. Using a body weight of 170 pounds, protein 170 pounds times 1 gram per pound of body weight gives you 170 grams of protein times 4 calories per gram equals 680 calories. Fat 170 times 0.5 per pound of body weight gives you 85 grams of fat times 4 calories per gram, which equals 765 calories. Now you take your carbs, 170 times the low end of 2.2 grams per pound of body weight, 374 grams times 4 calories per gram, which equals 1,496 calories. This gives you a total of 2,941 calories. Of course, this is a baseline. If you're not growing, you can add more carbs and or protein. Or if you think you're getting too fat, then cut back a little bit on the carbs and increase the protein, which leads to timing carbs around training. Pre-training carbs. Resistance training with good volume and effort can reduce glycogen stores by 24 to 40%. Keep that in mind. 374 grams of carbs divided by 5 meals equals 72 grams of carbs per meal. All you have to do is just eat a regular meal about 2 hours before your training, and that's plenty of energy to fuel your training. If you train in the morning fasted, you could try 30 to 60 grams of fast-acting carbs during training. Not my preference. I don't like food in my stomach during my workout. I train fasted on the weekend, but this is what I do. On Friday night and Saturday night, I have a big carb meal, usually around 9:30. This gives me plenty of stored glycogen to fuel my training the next morning. That's something you might want to consider. Post-training, within 2 hours after training, I don't rush to eat. I have 100 grams of carbs with 30 to 50 grams of protein. I have a video on my playlist on the anabolic window if you want to dig deeper into that. This helps to reload my glycogen stores and initiate protein synthesis. This seems to work best for me. I have no problems with recovery, but you can play around with it to see what suits you best. Side note, I also take about a 90-minute, sometimes up to 2-hour power nap after my training on Saturday and Sunday. This works wonders for recovery. If you're truly training hard, you'll be glad you took that nap. What are the best carbs to build muscle? The ones you can measure and eat consistently and digest efficiently. A quick word on the glycemic index, which is the ranking of a carb's ability to raise blood glucose levels. If you're not eating highly refined processed foods, don't worry about it. Just eat mixed meals with proteins, fats, and carbs. And try to get at least 30 grams of fiber per day if you can. Some food examples of carbs. Whole wheat bread, easy to measure, it's right on the package. Jasmine rice, 100 grams equals 25 grams of carbs. Potato, 150 grams equals 26 grams of carbs. Oatmeal, half cup dried measure equals 27 grams of carbs. I have plenty of videos on nutrition breakdowns of a lot of other foods if you want to go deeper or I didn't touch a carb that you might want to eat. Or just use a calorie counting app. But you get the idea. Just make sure you're counting your carbs accurately. You don't want to go way over, but you also don't want to undershoot your daily goal. And also try to include some fruits and veggies in there as well. If you eat clean whole foods, keeping track is pretty straightforward. How much muscle should you expect to build? The scientific literature cannot answer this question definitively. No one really can. But here's some rough estimates. If you're a complete, untrained beginner, you can gain 27 to 44 pounds of muscle in your first 1 to 3 years. That's if you're doing everything correctly and consistently. For late intermediates and advanced lifters, 0.5 to 1 pound per month. Again, if you're doing everything with precision until you hit your genetic ceiling. A word on if you think you're advanced. Unless you have been training consistently, not skipping workouts, not skipping meals, not skipping recovery, not skipping anything. If you have been doing that for many years and you have not grown, again, if everything has been on point, then you can consider yourself advanced and you may have hit your genetic ceiling. But if you could still put on another 10 pounds of muscle, why? Because you haven't been consistent. You think you know what you're doing in the gym, which is great, but unless you've actually put in the work consistently over years, you're not advanced because you can still grow. You're just a late intermediate. Power tip, the information I talked about is covered in Alan Aragon's great book, Flexible Dieting. Take a look at it if you want to go deeper. And then watch this next to see if you're eating enough protein. And as always, thanks so much for watching.